Hello, I'm just George doing my week 2 picking against the spread. Coastal Carolina is favored by 27 points in this game against Kansas. Now, this one's interesting to me. The Football Power Index gives Coastal Carolina a 93.7% chance to win this game. But these teams played last season, of course, and the season before. Kansas lost by 15 last season, and I think Kansas was the favorite, and Kansas was also the favorite in 2019 and lost only by 5. The last time Kansas was this big of a dog in a non-con game, it was in 2016 against Memphis, and they lost 43-7. Needless to say, with all of that information against Coastal Carolina, I'm going to go ahead and take Kansas and Lance Leopold to cover this spread. I don't think they're going to lose that bad. So give me Kansas and give me a 27-point cushion. Now, Oregon and Ohio State. This game is really interesting because Ohio State's offense is very interesting, especially against the 4-3, and Oregon runs the 4-3. In 2019, Oregon averaged 46 points against 4-3 and 41 points in 2020. Now, all of that being said, and Thibodeau is out for Oregon, so they're going to score a bunch. Ohio State's going to score a whole lot. Oregon's got a good defense, but they're probably going to cover that 14-point spread, so I'm going to take Ohio State to cover the 14 points. Now, Utep and Boise State. Well, Utep has a good running back in Ronell Awatt, and he ran for almost 100 yards last week, where Boise State's leading rusher Van Buren only ran for 26 yards. And Boise State gave up 14 points to UCF in the second quarter and in the third quarter. A defense that did not look good. And with a 27-point cushion, I'm going to go on ahead and take Utep because I expect this to be a shootout. A lot of points scored. I'd probably take the over because I don't have a lot of faith right now in Boise State's defense. I have a lot of faith in them to get the dub, but not a lot of faith in them to cover. So I'll take Utep. Now, this game is really interesting. Florida and South Florida. South Florida has been shut out or held to 7 points in 4 games in the last 3 seasons, including being shut out to Notre Dame, Wisconsin, and NC State. And Florida is looking really good with Emory Jones. Dan Mullen, Dak Prescott is what they're calling him. And look, could they win by 30? Absolutely. Do I think they will? Absolutely. Give me Florida to cover. Give me Florida by 30 or more. So take the spread, put your money on it, watch the game. It'll slowly get ugly. This might be one you win some money on. So take Florida in this one. Now, Toledo and Notre Dame. Notre Dame hit their tight end a lot last night and looked really good, but they had a lot of quick passes. Their offensive line looked bad. Florida State was in the backfield a lot in that game, but size will be the difference in this one. Could they win by a couple touchdowns, 3 touchdowns? Absolutely. Toledo just doesn't match up with Notre Dame size-wise, and I think they're going to find a way. I think Notre Dame's going to find a way to win by 3 scores, probably 3 touchdowns at least. So I'll take Notre Dame in the points. Notre Dame minus the 18.5. Now, UAB and Georgia. This game interests me. I feel like this game's important. Georgia's offense did not look good against Clemson. Granted, Clemson has one of the best defensive coordinators in all of college football, maybe even the best in Brett Venables. But that offense and JT Daniels has to find a way. And of course, UAB is touting a 31-0 victory right now, which is more points than Georgia scored and a better defense than a better points per game on defense than Georgia has. Georgia did let in 3. So I expect Georgia to be fired up, come out and cover. I'll take Georgia. I'll take them to win by 27. So I've got Georgia. Now A&M and Colorado. This game is a sneaky one for me. So these teams have met 9 times. They are old Big 12 opponents. Colorado leads this series 6-3. The last time they played was in 2009. Colorado won 35-34. The biggest margin of victory was in 2005, a 31 win by Colorado. Jimbo could find a way to win by 14 points, but I don't know if he'll cover the 17. So I'm going to take Colorado in this one in a sneaky close game. Colorado with a 17-point cushion. Now, Ball State and Penn State here. This game's a really interesting game to me because Ball State was picked by Lindsay to win the MAC, and they're getting a lot of points. I mean, 22.5 is a pretty good margin. But something that I find interesting is that the over in this game, the over-under is set at 53.5. And for that to happen, essentially what we're looking at for Penn State to cover and have the over is a 38-15 score here. Can Sean Clifford do it? Is their quarterback good enough? If you think he is, take Penn State to cover. If you don't, take Ball State. For me, man, I don't know how good he is. If Ball State blitzes and they get to him, I don't know how good this Penn State offense is going to be. Only scoring 16 last week. I know against the great Wisconsin defense. I'm going to go ahead and take Ball State in the points. Going bold here. Eastern Washington and Wisconsin. Wisconsin getting 24 points. Wisconsin, they have a really good defense. The question is their quarterback, Graham Mertz. The defense was 9th overall in 2019 and 8th overall in last season. So really good defense. Held Penn State to 16. So they definitely look good on defense. And I think they could even shut out this game. Can Mertz get to 24 though? That's the biggest question. And all you got to do is score 4 touchdowns. So I think Wisconsin finds a way to get 4 touchdowns. Defense shuts the door. I'm going to take Wisconsin to cover. Now, App State and Miami. This game, well, last time these two teams met, it was 45-10. Looked like it was going to be a close game. Looked like App State was going to upset them, at least on paper, kind of a thing. Close spread, but nope, I'll take Miami to cover this time. Now, this is where you could make some money. This is a really good game to bet on. Texas covered a 9.5 point spread last week, winning 38-18. Steve Sarkisian's O looked really good. Hudson Card looked really good, and Bijan Robinson looked really good. Arkansas looked okay, but not super great against Rice. And if you're Texas, you're only losing 6.5 points. Surely they'll win by a touchdown. They may win by 2 or 3. They may make a statement out of this game right here. So I would definitely take Texas in the points, and you'll know you made a good bet if you see this spread start creeping up to 7, 7.5. It may even get up to 8 by the end of the week. So watch this one. So bet quickly and watch this one to creep up, because Texas is the good bet, and you're getting a great, great deal here. Now, North Carolina and Georgia State. Georgia State. Now, North Carolina is a good team on paper, but they did not look good against Virginia Tech. Sam Howell had 32 attempts with only 17 completions. 8 of those completions were to Josh Downs. So he caught 47% of their passes. And of course, they've got one of the best defensive backs in the league, Storm Duck. But Georgia State only had 60 plays from scrimmage. They need to do better. They need to have ball control if they're going to cover that spread, because Sam Howell's going to try to get it to other receivers this week. Going to try to establish his connection and look better. I'm going to go on ahead and take North Carolina. I think they find a way. I think Mac Brown coaches them up, but man, that's a lot of points. So, Michigan and Washington here. Well, Washington lost to an FCS. The pick here is obvious. I'm going to take Michigan. I'm going to pick Jim Harbaugh. They're going to win this game, and they're probably going to pour it on them. So, Utah and BYU. Now, this game is a really interesting game. You see, Utah owns this series 59-31 and have won the last 9, which is the longest winning streak in the series by both teams. From 1979 to 1987, BYU won 9 in a row. From 1929 to 1937, Utah won 9 in a row, and from 2010 to 2019, Utah won 9 in a row. Now, this is projected to be a really close game statistically. BYU might not be as close talent-wise to Utah as a lot of people think on paper, but it's a big rivalry game. And I'm getting 7 points here in a game that Utah could slip up and find a way to lose. History says they won't win 10 in a row, and on paper, a lot of analysts say it's going to be a close game, so I'll take BYU getting 7 points to keep this game close and maybe even win outright. Now, USC and Stanford. Stanford lost 2 games against the spread last year, 8 games in 2019 and 4 in 2018. With these big deficits, Stanford has not seemed to fare well. They're trending in it seems to me like they might be trending in the correct direction, but we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and take USC in this game. UNLV and Arizona State. Arizona State runs the ball a lot under Herm Edwards, and they only put up 41 points last year, and they've got to cover a 33.5 spread. I mean, that means they're going to have to basically score 35 points and get a shutout. I mean, how many points are they going to put up against the Running Rebels? To tell you the truth, I really don't know. So give me UNLV and 33.5 points. Now, Illinois and Virginia. This spread has already gone down, already gone closer to Illinois, not getting as much because the smart money's on Illinois. Illinois went out and beat a top 30 team in Nebraska. They're top 30 in Rivals and top 25 in the 247 talent composite. And then they went out and lost to a team that they really shouldn't have. So where are they? Where are their minds at? I'm sure they will take on Virginia as a very difficult team, and you're getting 10 points. Virginia looked really good. They pitched a 43-0 shutout, but I'm going to go ahead and take Illinois getting 10 points. Now, Army losing 4.5 against Western Kentucky. Look, this game could be intriguing. Army runs the ball better than anybody in the country, and they put up 40 points running the football. Looked good. They're going to run the ball. Surely they'll win by a touchdown or more, so I'm going to go on and take Army minus 4.5. Now, this game looks interesting. You take a South Carolina, and you're getting 2 points to an ECU team. Now, ECU has beaten South Carolina 5 times in the history of this being played. But Beamer Ball, I mean, you got to feel like they're going to come in pumped up and find a way to win the game. So I'm going to take South Carolina getting 2 points. Now, this game intrigues me. Minnesota against an Ohio State University, favored by 20.5 points here. They put up 408 total yards against the Ohio State University. So they're really going to unleash this running game. They might score on every possession. They might get 3.5 yards a play in this one. They're going to put it on them. I'm going to take Minnesota, and I would think your money's safe if you take Minnesota in this one. Now, the rivalry game, teams that struggled and even lost in the spread. Both teams lost in the spread, and one team lost outright to FCS opponents. I really don't. Both teams look bad. OSU has the better defense, and they lead this series 43-28. Tulsa has won 28 times, and they're getting 12.5 points. So I'll go on ahead and take Tulsa, the team getting the points in this one. But bettors, stay away. Now, Middle Tennessee and Virginia Tech here. Virginia Tech looked really good against North Carolina. Last year they had a big non-conference that they kind of overlooked in Liberty. They ended up losing that game. But over the last 6 years, they're 45-32 against the spread, which is really, really decent. It gives them an edge in these little games with this 19 points. Can they win by 20? I'm going to take them to beat the spread with the 19 points. So I've got Virginia Tech and the spread. Now, Purdue, they have a lot to cover against the UConn team who lost to Holy Cross. And they didn't look good. Purdue did not look good against Oregon State. But UConn is not a good opponent. UConn is not going to find a way to win this game. But can Purdue cover that massive spread? Honestly, I really don't know. But they're the better team, so I'm going to take them and hope that they find a way to keep scoring points just because I have zero faith in UConn. Now, Boston College and Umass. This spread is high only to keep your interest in the game. The last time Umass actually won a college football game was September 28, 2019. And they are currently on a 12-game losing streak. And they're bad. They're really bad. And Boston College has the best fourth down conversions in all of college football. So they're going to rumble, they're going to have long scoring drives, and they're probably going to win 40-0. So I'll take Boston College minus the 38. Now, Buffalo and Nebraska. Scott Frost, hot seat. Spreads influence hot seats. He's already lost one game. He's going up against a team that's going to miss a Lance Leopold. And they're 1-0. Are they going to give a good showing? Are they going to find a way to cover the 12? I don't think so. I'll take Nebraska minus the 12 to win by a couple touchdowns. Now, TCU and Cal Berkeley. TCU is getting a lot of points for what I think is going to be a defensive struggle. The over set at 48.5, but with Gary Patterson, Cal's defense looked good. Gary Patterson's TCU defense, always a good defense. I think it's going to be a defensive struggle. I think it's going to be closer. Man, I'm hoping that would be a little bit closer so I could take TCU. But I'm going to go on ahead and take Cal Berkeley getting 9.5 points because I think that this game's going to be closer than 10, probably closer than 9. Air Force getting minus 6.5 against Navy. Look, Navy is not good. They have not looked good for a couple seasons. They did not look good against Marshall. They can't stop anyone. I don't think they can stop any rushing attack in the country. Certainly not an Air Force rushing attack. They'll be fired up. It'll be a close game. Will it be within a touchdown? Probably not. Air Force probably wins by a couple scores at least. So I'll take Air Force minus the 6.5. And if you're interested in the armed forces, if you're interested in little games like this, This might be a good one to put a couple dollars on. You'll probably make your money. Now this is one where I really think you'll make some money on for sure if you bet Houston -9 points, and I'll tell you why. Rice is terrible. Now the Football Power Index only gives Houston a 78% chance to win, which is why this spread is so low. But they'll probably win by 10 or 20. Dana Holgorsen has a sour taste in his mouth after losing to Texas Tech, and he's got to feel a little bit of a hot seat. This game is a bit of a rivalry game, so Houston's going to want to put it on Rice, and they're going to put it on them. It's going to be ugly by the second quarter, I think. Now another interesting Texas game. See, SMU is favored by the Football Power Index by 85.3, and they have probably the best tight end outside of the Power 5 in Grant Calcaterra. So can they cover this spread against North Texas -21.5? See, that's 3 touchdowns. We really don't know how good the Mean Green are yet. We haven't seen them against a super top opponent yet. So I'm going to go ahead and take Southern Methodist to cover in with the hook. The hook of the 0.5. I think they can win by 3 touchdowns. Can they win by 3 touchdowns and a field goal? The hook. We'll see. I'll take them. I want to bet on this one, though. Tennessee and Pittsburgh. Josh Heupel looked really good, but Pittsburgh has the most experienced quarterback in college football in Kenny Pickett, and they're -2.5. This game is a toss-up 50-50 game all the way. It's going to come down to the wire. I'm going to take Tennessee because they're getting the 2 points. And if they end up winning, I'm a genius. If it's a 1-point game, I'm a genius. If Pittsburgh wins by 3, well, I lost my bet. So it's one you don't want to bet on, but if you have to make a prediction, I'm going to predict Tennessee. Now, to Jacksonville State and Florida State. This game was close for a little while. In fact, JSU got up by 14 last season when they played. And you're getting 41.5 points, which is massive. So I'll take Jacksonville State getting 41.5 points. Now, game of the week. Iowa and Iowa State. Easiest bet of the year. Iowa leads this series 45-22 and has won the last 5. And they won by 6 recently. You know. Now, Iowa State against Northern Iowa, another in-state school, has not done well. They lost in 3 overtimes in 2019, or they won in 3 overtimes in 2019, and they lost to Northern Iowa in 2016. Iowa State struggles against in-state schools. There's no other way to say it. They're -3.5 points. So Iowa is getting 3.5 points in a game that they're probably going to win, because Iowa State really can't get over the hump, you know. And if Iowa does find a way, and it is by a last-second field goal, you still win the bet. So take Iowa. This is the one that you throw the house in, so to speak. You go all in, all chips in the center. Take Iowa. I am Josh George. This was my spread prediction video.